Well, my name's Katie. I was born and raised down here in Fort Lauderdale. Um, I started coming to my 9Muses around the age of 14. When I first got diagnosed, I heard of them through a support group, through a hospital, one of the local psych hospitals, and tried it out. And I immediately got sucked in. I had a routine of just kind of going in the hospital every month, and once I didn't have school anymore, it just got worse, so I needed somewhere to go and someone I could relate to, so I started coming here. And my first day, I met a wonderful woman, and she happened to live right down the street from where I was staying, and she would bring me in every day, and I'd bring her out of the house every day, and we kind of bonded. And then the more I came, the more people I talked to, the more stories I heard. You know, people that have been coming here, they've been through the system. They know every loophole, the good doctors, the bad doctors, what you can try if the system's failing you, which it does, especially when you're first getting started with everything. So it really helped me to come here and speak to these people, because they basically showed me that, just because you have a diagnosis doesn't mean you're going to be sick and miserable for the rest of your days and never make friends and never have a life or a job. It was a place that inspired hope for me. I always loved art.
Yeah.
I always loved painting and drawing. I always had my head in a book and doodling all day long, because it was easier to draw than to talk for me. So, that's that. I got hooked right away with that. All the art supplies were free, so I was here every day. And I learned things every day. I learned something new. And I just started with doodling, and then, oh, why don't you try clay today? Oh, why don't we try watercolors? And, I just experimented, and it was just a distraction. It was someplace I could go and not think about anything else. It was very difficult. The sicker I got, the more services I needed, and when I first got Baker acted, they put you in the hospital and you stay there for 3 days and then you're out. But to get on disability, if I didn't have my mom, I probably wouldn't be on it today. I mean, you basically don't get it unless you have a lawyer. I mean, you can be in the system for years, in and out of the hospital every other month, and they wouldn't even consider you unless you had a lawyer. I had to go to the state hospital. I was in and out of hospitals for 4 to 5 years, and my mom was paying for it all, working 3 jobs, couldn't afford it. So there isn't somebody that just comes up and he says, here you go, you're sick. No, you got to fight for it, and it's going to take more than one time, If you're real sick and you have no one advocating for you, you might not ever get it. Just a revolving door. Jail, hospital, street. Jail, hospital, street. So, there's no step up unless you have somebody that knows. Well, unfortunately, it's a business. It's a business. It's not there to service the community and to service people. If you don't have insurance, you're not going to get the help you need. If you don't have a lawyer, you're not going to get the benefits you need. Go on to Social Security system. Having paranoid schizophrenia or bipolar, not being able to afford your $800 bottle medications. If you don't have money, you're not going to get what you need. It's sad, but that's just the way it is. It's a huge marketing industry. It's not there to help the broken. Well, the state hospital was the best thing for me, because the other hospitals, like I said, it's a 3-day stay, and so your insurance runs out and then you're back on the street. It takes a lot longer to not only find the right medication, get adjusted to the medication. It takes time and effort that they don't offer. Okay, your insurance runs out. Bye, we'll see you in another month. It's just, the state hospital, it was a 7th-month stay, and that was the time that I needed to stabilize. And I was able to. And then I got out, and, I had 9Muses, and I had a group home they released me to, so I had a little bit of support network. But, these brief hospital stays, it's nothing really. It keeps you safe for the 3 days, and that's it. So yeah, I was diagnosed at 14 with bipolar disorder. I would get really manic and aggressive and not sleep at night and make sock puppets, and and it just kind of evolved. The older I got, the worse it got, and I suffered for a long time from getting suicidal to manic, where I couldn't control myself and what I did, and I eventually had my first suicide attempt, and that was when I first got Baker acted. My mom Baker acted me, and I went to a local hospital, and then just the cycle started. And finding the right medication, it's not easy. You're a science experiment. You deal with every side effect known to man, and that doesn't work, and you go back in, and that doesn't work, and you suffer till you find the right one. Being a woman too, because the hormones thrown in there, the family dysfunction thrown there, it was like a bomb going off. So I just cycle in and out like every month, and I didn't see it as help. I didn't see it as hope. It wasn't like a pat on the back, you're gonna be okay now. It's like, oh, this is gonna be my life. So having that diagnosis, it really kind of pulled me away from society, and I was broken. It took a while for me to find the right med. When I did, things got a lot better. But, the social was still there, and kind of trauma and the history, and that was still there. That didn't really go away. So going in these hospitals, it was kind of like summer camp. You'd go in for 3 days with a bunch of other sick people, and you'd have good times. It wasn't about getting better. It was just kind of, you're just there. But I don't know. When I started coming here, though, that's when I found my niche. That's when I found my niche, and I learned how to deal with it. But it took a long time. I'd self-mutilate, many suicide attempts. It was difficult. I missed the whole college experience, I missed a good period of my life. So it was just learning how to pick up the pieces and how to deal with it and how to build a life around it, and realizing that that's possible if you learn how to do things the right way. And it's, there's no direction guide. This is how you do it. It's just trial and error. So yeah, I'm glad that the hospitals were there, even the brief stays, and I'm glad that was available to me. But it could be so much better. It could be so much better. It shouldn't have to take 6 years of living with a diagnosis and hospitalization after hospitalization, suicide attempt after suicide attempt to get some kind of service. And my first experience with a case management team, my therapist was worked out, fall asleep while I'm talking to her. My psychiatrist wouldn't even make eye contact with me, just kind of checked up, wrote a few notes, and then I was out the door, waiting 2 hours to see him, and then I'm in the office 3 minutes, So, my case manager, she was worse off than I was, and it's just the system fails you. And it's just picking out what you can that might be helpful, but in the end, you got to find your own way. It's not going to be, oh, you're on this case management team now, you're good to go, your life is problem-free. It doesn't work that way. you learn where things are, how to get to them, who to call. And that's why places like this are so important, because that's where you learn. Like, oh, I know this person, you should call them. Oh, okay. You know. Nobody will ever look at you the same again, especially if they've known you when you're going through a breakdown. Or, family, friends, whatever it is, they'll never look at you the same ever again. It'll always kind of be in the back of their mind, oh, she is capable of this, and they'll always kind of look out for you. And, it doesn't matter how much you change either. That stigma's always going to be there. It's not going to be talked about a whole lot or brought up a whole lot, but nobody will ever trust you like they used to. And it's a shame, it is an illness, but it's not like a cut. It's not an injury that somebody can see. It's this person's just, a jerk, like they don't see it as an illness. They see it as, this is just a horrible person. This is a horrible human being who's made horrible decisions, But it's just, the way I see it is, it's like I was a different person, Me stable compared to me not well, it's day and night. It's day and night. I'm able to think through my thoughts before reacting, it's just hard to make other people see that. You kind of have to start over with your life, with your friends, with, who and where you spend your time with. Everything has to change. Everything. Well, I've already seen a start in that. Especially here, they're constantly talking about self-advocacy, ways you advance directives, ways that you can kind of make your voice heard, especially with the peer specialist programs. That's how I got my first job. And it was all from coming here every day. And I volunteered, and then, hey, did you know this was a thing? No, I didn't. I think you'd be good at it. You do? Well, let me try. And now I'm a peer specialist. I'm working full time. I work with a case management team. And now I'm going out and seeing people, that are struggling themselves and helping them and letting them know, like, hey, I'm not just here to point the finger at you and bust you for not taking meds, whatever. Like, I know what it feels like. I know what it feels like. And sometimes people need to hear that, so they're just not always like, you don't know me, you don't know what it's like, it's like, I do. And that's helpful, talking to somebody who's been there and done that, instead of, you should try exercise and meditation when you can't lift your head up because you're over, you know what I mean? It's just, it's changing. We're not there yet, nobody's ever gonna call me for jury duty because they can't trust my opinions, I guess. But, we're getting there. We're getting there. Well, I've definitely had a lot of interaction with the criminal justice system. Many cops, many of EMTs have come to the house to take me away in handcuffs because I thought that they were demons trying to kill me, so I'd fight with them. And they weren't CIT, that wasn't a thing yet. CIT trained officers wasn't a thing yet, so there'd be 5 cops on top of me and the female cop looking from my mom to her supervisor asking if she should mace me, or tase me or whatever, because they didn't know what to do. They didn't know what to do. And, I've been punched in the face while handcuffed. Cops making sure there's no cameras in the room, just kind of hand on the gun, just didn't know how to deal with it. And then once they started doing the crisis intervention team training with the officers in Broward County and now Hollywood, you can specifically request that they be the ones to come out. So, schizophrenics aren't getting shot on the street as much. I mean, it's still a problem, but it's nice to know that they're realizing that and really trying to get the officers trained to learn how to deal with that more appropriately, because it's a horror show. I have a friend who got her arm broke by an officer, wasn't even resisting but was completely psychotic, and they didn't know how to handle it. They just take you down. They take you out. So, they're putting the security cameras in the hospitals, and they didn't do that before. And a lot of people are getting fired because of the abuse. I mean, they'll leave you naked in a quiet room for hours while you piss yourself. They just verbally abusive. A lot of the group homes, too, the ALFs, the staff, from other countries don't know how to handle it, just abusive. So, the more training, the more advocacy, the more we speak out, the more people hear us, the better we are. And it's gotten better. It has. I think they've gotten better. And hopefully it'll continue to go that way. I mean, I know the drug industry is booming and, they got to make their money. But, I'd like to see more senators. I'd like to see more congressmen and more people focus on, the humanity aspect of it all instead of how can we profit from this. Art helped me a great deal because there was a time where I couldn't speak, couldn't express the way I felt. I didn't know how. So I could draw though, and everything has a piece of me in it. Everything symbolizes something, and it was kind of how I worked out my pain. It's how I worked out what I was going through. It was my way of communicating when I couldn't. So it was a saving grace for me. It was a distraction from a lot of pain. It was a distraction. And I was kind of good at it. So, every piece here, I love 9Muses because they always brought a topic. Like this one right here, when you're doing well and when you're not doing well. So, just the kind of fear.
Can we grab it?
Yeah.
I can't see it.
But yeah, this was the medicated compared to not medicated deal, and like I said, it's like your science experiment, and it takes a very long time, if ever, to find the right medication. So, when you're medicated, it's 50% of the battle. So you're still dealing with what you're dealing with. You're just able to. You're just able to function. And when you're not, there is no functioning. You're not in reality anymore. You don't see things the way things are. So you see things the way things are here, but you're still dealing with it. You're still dealing with the voices. You're still dealing with the depression and the mania. It's just at a less extreme level. So this was kind of my take. The threatening waters, and the hands pulling you down, what's coming, so I like to stay on my meds. Try to avoid that. I mean, it's hard to function on the meds, but you get used to it. You figure things out. You figure out how to do it. Well, it helps you think things through, it kind of helps you figure out who you are, Everything I do is kind of self-portrait, even if it's an animal or flowers, you get some sense of emotion from it. You get some sense of, feeling from it. But while you're doing it, while you're thinking about the topic, what am I like when I'm not well? What am I like when I'm well? It's not always something we think about. We know we're not doing well, but we don't know why. So when you do projects like this, it kind of forces you to think about, why wasn't I doing well? What happened? And it's self-exploration, really. It's a beautiful thing.